We're recording. For those who don't know, my name is Eddie Gonzalez. This is my podcast, El Local. And this is my cousin Aron.
Hello.
And with a special guest on the side, Matt. Matt, you want to pop into the camera really quick just so people get to see your face? All right. So I'm going to tell you this right now. I recorded myself 2 weeks ago. I was just telling Matt right now that I don't like the idea of. I didn't like it. I don't know if I want to release it as that being the first episode or this being the first episode. And also I have one from last year that I recorded by myself. I'm not a fan of recording myself like in this setting. It's weird. It's different. So the whole reason for this is that because you know me so well, you've known the idea since it began. So it's like you're interviewing me, and I'm kind of bouncing off everything that's happened so far. So
I mean, you're not supposed to say the context, man. No, just kidding.
So this is El Local, episode 1, podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it's been, honestly, as someone that was there when the idea was conceived, it's kind of cool to see it to fruition. So I'm really proud of Eddie and the path that he's taking. So, but yeah, I don't know. Where do we start?
All right, so the idea came. So I started working for the city of Watsonville in 2018 in the Parks and Recreation Department as a part-time gig during the summer. And through that, I got involved a lot with the city, local government, and everything events-wise, you know. Mm-hmm. I wanted to just get involved, I guess, because, I mean, I lived in Watsonville, obviously my whole life, born and raised, but I never really was out there, you know?
Yeah.
And I got to meet people and to experience new events and everything. And so I think a year after working for the city and the friends that I made, I'm like, you know what? I want to get more involved. I want to do more things, you know? And so I decided to, I think it was like 2019. I'm like, you know what? I want to start vlogging. And so I started vlogging, started doing some things here and there. And around that time, podcast was kind of like coming up little by little. And so I started noticing that, oh, people are just interviewing someone, you know? And so my idea was like, dude, okay, well, let's take community and podcast and put it into one. And so I'm just like, let's start interviewing people. And I kind of did that a little bit. I would go around to events, I'd take my camera, my phone, and start recording my friends and just kind of messing around. And, you know, my coworkers are just like, oh, hey, you know, what's up? You know, what do you got to say to the people and everything? And, you know, it was that weird at first for people like, what are you doing? So I'm just vlogging. This is a thing apparently. So
Yeah. No, I remember you used to like, so Eddie used to show up all the time and be like, and I'm like, all right, cool, I guess, I don't know. But I mean, it was cool. It was cool. I think like it really like that's what I start, like that's what I say, it's like the start, you know, you start small. So that's super cool that like, you know, like that little, I mean, and I don't know if it's a habit, you know, like that, but that small habit is like turning into like something bigger, you know, and people don't see that. Like they're like, oh, you're just recording. But the fact that you like put your character out there and like, this is who I am, like that's freaking.
yeah. And so I had to, because for the longest time, it's like I needed a hobby. I needed something to like do, you know, and I guess I was still finding myself. And then when I got in front of a camera, it's just like, bam, like it just came natural to me, you know? And so I'm like, dude, I'm rolling with it. People tell me, oh, you're very outgoing and this and that, which I am. I know I am. But like, I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe I could do this with it, you know, record and vlog and all that. And so fast forward late 2019, I had this crazy idea of wanting to run for city council member. I remember reading the newspaper and it said, "Oh, local District 1, seat open." And I'm like, all right, let's do it, And fast forward 2020, pandemic hit. All right. 2020 happened, everyone was locked in. And I think around that time, that's when I bought all this equipment, right? I bought the headphones, I bought the Rodecaster camera and everything. And during the pandemic, everyone was doing something, right? They started something, like people started doing, exercises at home and started getting into fitness. People started, podcast, big time. And so I'm like, dude, I'm going to do this. But it just never really took off. What I did do, though, one of the things I'm proud of is I started a movie club with my friends, with Matt, and so the movie club was an idea that one of my buddies kind of planted in my head. He's like, "Hey, man, let's start a movie club." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Because we would always talk about movies. It's like, "Oh, well, you know how a book club goes? Like, they read a book and they talk about it. Well, do it with movies." I'm like, "Let's do it." So I initiated everything, and then I hit up a couple friends, and then I hit up Matt, and it just kind of, I guess you could say that's what I did. I started a podcast I started a movie club during the pandemic. And so in that time too, I was trying to get this podcast going and working on, but I never really was able to set it off. It was more like, all right, I have the equipment, I'm messing around with it, but the fire wasn't there yet. I guess it was just kind of lazy, and I was messing around, and I don't know. I couldn't get it off the ground.
No, I mean, also too, it's like the environment. Like, someone who knows you personally, like even with myself, like when you're in an environment that, you can't grow, like you can't start anything, and I think that's like a lot of people in Watsonville. That's why it's like super cool that someone like I'm gonna be honest, like me and Eddie come from like low income families. Like every little penny like counts, and so the fact that you went for it and we're like, I'm gonna invest into this, it's like that's a very big step, Whereas like, the reality is that there's certain people who are like, oh yeah, like I did this, make it seem like nothing, right? Well, it's probably easier, but like for like someone like you or I, who had to take that leap, literally a leap of faith, and it's like you're like. I mean, and again, like as someone who's like shared that journey like halfway, before parting, right? Because I had to like do my own thing. It's like when you told me that you're gonna start this again, I was like, heck yeah. Like I was like, you deserve it. You like that growth, like you needed it as much as like I need to grow like the way that I need to grow.
And that's the point of this podcast, right? El local, for those who don't know, is Spanish for the local. And I'm hoping to, have these conversations with people, right, that struggled or are in a position in the community in Watsonville and the area that, it's a journey, right? So I want to get to know them and what it is that got them and how they got to where they're at. And so through that, like I said, like, we're gonna get to know me. We're gonna get to know these people, and that's why this first episode is I brought you along because you know me, and the struggle and everything that's happened, and that's what I want to do for other people. I want to interview them and talk to them because there is a lot of unseen heroes, a lot of people that do the work, that are the backbone to whatever it is that they do. And they don't get the recognition because I've seen podcasts, I've seen interviews, and they're always interviewing the director, the head of the company, the head of the nonprofit, whatever, like the upper ups, But there's never any love for like the behind the scene people who put in the work. And I've seen a lot of things and met a lot of people in the community that are putting in work day in and day out and they don't get the recognition. It's like this director comes in, is like, oh yeah, you know, they get all the love, and so that's the point of this podcast, is to get to know people, of our everyday community, get to know food, right? Because people make food, and food is culture, you know. And I want to, shed light on that food. Nonprofits, again, there's a lot of nonprofits out there. I want to get to know nonprofits and businesses. We live in a small community, and there's a lot of mom and pop shops, and shops that have been around for years, and there's there's a seafood restaurant that has been around for 30 years. A friend of mine, her parents own it, and so things like that, people that have been around in this community for a long time, those are the people that I want to get to know, and
Yeah. No, I mean, like, and that's the thing too. It's like, my boss that I'm working with, she's like saying like, small but mighty. Like we're a small town, dude. Like, we're not a big city like San Jose or like, culturally diverse, but like there are cultures that we have that people don't even know about. I mean, you got the Filipino community, you got the Portuguese community, you got like Japanese, like, I mean, and these are people who like built everything. And of course, I mean, like you got the like Salvadorians, like just everyone.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a big, heavily Latino populated community with those little off branches of people. And really quick, I know that I didn't really give a location of where I'm at, but for those who don't know, I'm based out of Watsonville, California. Watsonville, California is in Santa Cruz County. Santa Cruz County is in the Monterey Bay. Monterey Bay is in Central California, the Central Coast, and so Watsonville, and I'm gonna put it out there, Watsonville gets no love. Watsonville is like it gets overlooked, and so there's a big struggle with this county because there's a lot of funding, there's a lot of things that are given to everyone but Watsonville. There's like a stigma about Watsonville, like it being a Latino community, like there's a lot of immigrants and all that, and there's not a lot of funding that comes this way, and so a lot of it goes to like the North County, and so, and that's, like I said, that's why I'm doing this, to shine light on everything that makes Watsonville and the surrounding area here beautiful, the Pajaro Valley. So
no, I don't know, I think I see it more as a blessing. Like, you know what, like, we do it for the love of it. I mean, we don't get money for anything, and that's cool. I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, we live the way we live. We harvest the way we harvest. I mean, like, how many people say that they've gone, for a summer to work in the raspberry fields or the strawberry fields? I mean, like, and like, I think to me, it's shown me so much like appreciation of like that type of work, and even like for my path, like, I mean, I'm still going to school, so it's just like, man, this is cool. Like, I have a lot of like experience, like just hustling and like bustling, and it's like, I think that's the beauty of like Watsonville. It's like nothing comes easy, but like that's just life. Like, I'm not gonna expect for life to always be perfect or like not have sufferings or challenges. Like, I mean, and my cousin knows this too. It's like, Eddie knows, like, I'm the type of dude who's like, yeah, I complain about all my stuff that I go through, but I'm the type of guy who likes walking into the storm, because it's like, I mean, it makes you who you are. I mean, like, if you have no challenges, like, imagine, like, you're not really refining yourself. You're just, like, being the plain rock that you are. Remember, like, diamonds come out of, like, being pressured and being heated and being, like, challenged and, like, until it becomes something beautiful. So I think like that's what Watsonville to me represents. It's like, yeah, it's the pressure. It's like people wanting to make a better life for themselves, and like even with like the whole social change of like the whole gentrification and things like that, we're still battling it out. We want our identity. We're here. We're a farming town. We're working class people. I mean, we're not gonna have the best quality food, no Michelin star type of stuff, but I mean, we have heart stars of like food because people make it out of love. People make it out of like, you know what, I'm doing this because my family like was struggling out in the fields, and so we started a restaurant. We're like, now we're doing it, and we're proud of ourselves. And like that's the point. Like that's what we're trying to represent.
Yeah, and that like you said earlier, like this is what it took for me to get to this point. It took 5 years of saying I was going to do something, of working on it here and there, then kind of putting it on hiatus, putting it on pause, then coming back to it, working on it a little bit, then putting it away, and then finally now, I guess you could say this is like the third time I've gotten it up, so it's like third time's a charm, right? And so I finally said, screw it, I'm gonna do it. I got this motivation, and I put myself out there on social media. So on Instagram at ellocal831, follow me. And I guess you could say a friend of mine just kind of lit that fire under me, And so when I finally put myself out there, I put myself out there. And so everyone knows now. And so for me, it's like, I can't go back now. Like I need to continue and push forward, because if I say something, I'm going to do it, because for me, it's not that it's an image thing, but it's like for myself, it's like I can't say I'm a certain person or a certain thing and then follow through, because then it makes me look bad. It makes my image look bad, and and that's not who I am. Again, it's not for like the image and the clout or anything, but it's just like that's not who I am. So I want to put out a product. I want to put out something that represents who I am. Yeah. And so, and then Matt knows, because Matt, we've known each other for a long time. We're athletes. We played football, so I'm bringing my athletic mentality into this, because playing football growing up, it's like you put in the work, you got to prepare, you got to put yourself in a position to succeed and be on top, and so mentally, like I have to do it, it's game time, and so but like you said, it's environment, and a lot of it was putting myself in a position, environment to be able to succeed, and luckily I was able to get this space where we're at. Shout out to Arte de Corazon, for providing this spot. They put it out there that, they were looking for someone to take on this spot, and I was able to come up with funds to, slide in here and establish myself. It's a starting location, and so now I have an area, an environment where I could succeed. And so now whatever I do from this point out, it's on me, and so I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to run with it. So this is cool.
Yeah. I mean, like, oh man, it's been years, huh? Like, it's been a while. I still remember. So like, if you hear his intro, that was on, well, it's not me, but my buddy. So that was kind of cool. Like, I was telling Matt, like, dude, we just recorded that like in a shed in the back of like my mom's house. So it was kind of funny. And that's what I mean. It's like you got to start somewhere, So it was like super cool. I remember when we showed it to you, we had to pop into my car because like
the sound.
Yeah, the sound, like to get the nice quality surround sound with like the mics of the car, the amplifiers. But yeah, that was kind of funny. But
yeah, and shout out to Daniel, his friend, right? And again, this is the reason why, right? That at this point in my life is like I gotta do it, because there's been people in my life, like my cousin, who's supported me, and people who have believed in me, when I didn't, and so it's I'm doing it for myself, I'm doing it for a community, but also for those who supported me through this time, and I'm so thankful, thank God, because again, like my friend, who lit that fire under me to get this going, like within the past couple weeks, right? Her name is Jessica Carrasco, and she'll be on here on the show later on, that's who I met, in 2018 when I started working for the city, and developed a good friendship. But she has been a supporter of mine for a long time, since the day we met, and she's the one who just recently, like, she said something that just kind of lit it, so that fuse has been set, you know. And so for all the people that have supported me, Daniel, like I said, he made that jingle. I'll introduce the jingle, the intro jingle for next episode, or maybe during this episode at the beginning. Again, I'm still trying to figure out the logistics of all this stuff, but yeah, doing it for them too,
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's like, again, because of that environment, right? Like, you get that imposter syndrome, and like, I think it's something that I suffered through too. There's people who are like, dude, like, you can do this, like crazy stuff, and I'm like, bro, all I'm thinking about is like how to survive. Like, when you grow up with that survival mentality, like, I need to pay the bills, I need to do this, I need to do that. Like, you don't think about all these like extra stuff, or like doing, for say, a podcast, because like, you're thinking of it more of as like, oh, what's the expense, Mm-hmm. So the fact that someone encourages you, and to have that faith, right? Because we've talked about that before, mm-hmm. right? To us, we have, like, definitely, like, you're gonna hear a lot about that, our faith and trusting in God, and it's like you can't fathom it, like, but the mm-hmm. reality is that He provides when He provides, and like, that's how you have to see it, and that's how I've seen it. I've had to jump out of the nest so many times without any like freaking context, like, and like, there's certain moments when I can probably rely on my mom, right? But like, then there's like that point where it's like, nah, I gotta do it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other way. It's either now or never.
Sink or swim, And yeah. This is a sink or swim moment for me, for this podcast, And I don't know where it's gonna go. I don't know what direction, but the fact that I've started it is that's all that matters. I mean, I have a vision, I have an idea, for this, but we'll branch out. I don't know. Sky's the limit.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But if you guys could see closely, even to get this, like, it felt really good just to see it. And and it is for the people, right? Because for me, right, it's. And you kind of touched on like the whole gentrification thing, and then we'll get into that more as these episodes go on. But like, local, right? Like, when I think local, I think culture. When I think culture, I think people, and that's why those other.
I mean, if I can like say something about that, I mean, I'm not here like, oh, gentrification, like, it's no one's fault. Like, it's not even the people who move somewhere's fault. Like, if they have money, they have money. I'm pretty sure they, like, probably move here with the best intentions. Like, I really love this community, And I mean, it's like, it's no one's fault, because, like, the reality is that it's like, at the end of the day, it's just politics.
Yeah.
It's people wanting to control the money flow. Like, I mean, probably their bank, So, like, I'm not here like, oh, like, I'm not like, clearly it's more of a, like, colored to like non white kind of people are gonna be like, oh, more white people, they're like, oh, that means we're gonna get gentrified. I'm like, nah, dude, like, honestly, like, I think as a culture ourselves, as Latinos, Mexican, Latinos, like, we're open. I mean, if people want to come through, I mean, our grandma taught us how to like commune with anyone, man. Like, we connect with anyone. Like, you're respectful. Like, that's the point there, I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, they're gonna come and raise them. No, it's like, it is what it is. I mean, we learn how to survive. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, that's just how it is, and it's not their fault that like stuff is coming up, or like, it's just it's
no one's fault, but like I said, like, it's about preserving, I guess, preserving and getting to know, because with when times change, and they have been, things can get covered up, and and swept under the rug in the sense of like it gets overseen, right? Because of the new infrastructure, new people moving, so I want to shed light, like I said, to the ones who've been here, who have put in the work, who are unseen, before they get overshadowed by XYZ.
Yeah.
And like I said, like there's a lot, shops that have been here for 30 years, people who have, been around forever and known the history of Watsonville. And I still remember vaguely growing up a lot of construction, a lot of renovations, a lot of things,
Yeah.
And I mean, my goal and plan is to possibly also get someone who's part of the Watsonville Historic Society in here and get to know, more history of Watsonville and everything, And
I like you know what, like I love going into like these old shops, like they're old and grimy, they like still, like, you can kind of see the dirt and the smell on the walls, and you're just like, man, I wonder like all the stuff that happens here, because we grew up here, like we're probably like what, third generation or something.
We're first generation because our parents, well, no, you parents, are, so
I'm second.
You're second generation. I'm first generation because my dad came here when he was a kid from Mexico.
Well, I mean, like growing up in town, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Like, second generation.
Yeah.
But like, like our parents tell us about stuff that would happen, and then not just that. Like you got the old timers that talk about stories that happen in town, like all the ghost stories or like crazy stuff that be happening.
Yeah.
So
for me, one of the biggest like mind blowing thing, it's like back in the day, you were able to still swim in Pinole Lake.
Oh, yeah.
You were able to still swim in the levee, And I remember as a kid, again, it's very vague, but like being able to jump into Pinole Lake, before it being condemned and not being able to swim in it. And again,
don't swim in the lake, guys.
Yeah.
I worked there for about 6 months or so.
Don't swim in Pinole Lake.
Yeah, and stop making a big deal about the boats, man. It's a toxic lake. I don't know why you want to put your boat in there, man. Some nasty stuff.
Yeah, but and that's the thing. We're gonna.
No discredit to Jesus. Love you. You're doing a good job. Sorry.
But we're gonna roll out a bunch of this stuff, and the things that we're talking about right now that might not make sense. Like, what are you guys talking about? Like, are gonna make sense as time goes, and we're gonna get to know these stories of people, and so it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun ride, fun journey, and it's here, This is it, I'm still debating. I don't know, should I release the first video, or should this be the first video?
I mean, go with what your heart says. At the end of the day, everything here is raw. We have no scripts, like so, and not just that, it's always good to look back on that, because it was the one you did outside, right? Was it that one or which one?
Well, no. So I've recorded a lot of things over the time, and so I've recorded videos outside with people, I actually recorded Jesus one time. I had an interview, but the way that same setup, kind of with the iPhone, but it just didn't feel natural, I guess, because it was kind of like rushed, in a way.
Yeah, you were borrowing the space or something.
Yeah, I was borrowing the space, and then it was during, his time where, he was working too, so it was just kind of, it wasn't as authentic, and so, and I have other stuff that I recorded last year, so I don't know, maybe I'll release it, just on something, but whether you're listening to this, whether I recorded this and released this first, or this is the second episode and I released, before the first episode, we'll see. It's a whole. I'm still trying to figure it out. Yeah.
And and that's the kind of like touching back on, like, for example, when you said like Jesus is like busy that day. Oh man, he's a very hardworking man, and I really appreciate that. And you're gonna find that a lot here. It's like these people are raw people, and like everyone in this town is not like everything set. Like everyone's struggling, everyone's like hustling, and like that's just letting you know. It's like that's kind of that representation. It's like wanting to have that dream, and also fighting to survive, to uphold your dream, to uphold your family, and just like that's, you know, I think that's what this podcast is gonna represent. You know, farther down. So I'm pretty excited, and I'm pretty excited to see this journey. And then just FYI, this is not my journey; it's his. So if I'm here or not, it's don't matter.
Yeah. So you'll see a lot of him. Definitely. See a lot of me, obviously, because I'll be talking to people and just having these conversations. And so, yeah, this is cool. Like, I'm excited for it.
Yeah. What? And I mean, like, let's say, like, 5 years, or how long ago was it? Like almost 5 or 4?
5 years ago that I
kind of
4 so
yeah, shit.
So let's say 2019. 2019.
Yeah. Oh, just yeah. I still remember.
The idea came pre-pandemic.
Yeah,
the thought, the idea, the actions came pre-pandemic. I bought the equipment during the pandemic.
Yeah. Just to ask, what were you doing pre-pandemic? Do you remember?
Okay, so pre-pandemic, let me give you guys a bit of a rundown. I work for PVUSD, Pajaro Valley Unified School District, so I was working, and I was looking for a job, because I needed that second income. And so pre-pandemic, say 2018, 17, I was searching, and I finally applied to the city of Watsonville. And so I got hired there in 2018, April of 2018. But pre-pandemic, like, I wasn't really doing anything. I was just kind of roaming around, just doing whatever
you were doing,
what I was doing, and I wasn't really doing anything productive. I would just go to work, come home, and in my journey, I've exercised. I've tried to get back, exercising. I'm exercising right now, but yeah, I can't really think back. Like, I wasn't really doing anything. I was just kind of living life. I was just here.
I mean,
there's probably stuff that I was doing that was productive, but like nothing that sticks to me that like, oh, this was an important part of.
Wait, was that when you started the Altima or no? No, you got it in 2018. No? The Buick.
The Buick, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think the only he was kind of guiding me through my 21s, my young 20 years. But so I mean, props to that because that was kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, like, besides that, yeah, I mean, I feel like I think everyone was just working. I remember I was just like working, going to school, just stressing about all that crap, and then just like dealing with everything. So
everything was so fast paced.
Yeah, I remember that.
So everything was so fast paced, and like I said, like nothing was very set. Like everyone was kind of like, I guess, on autopilot.
Yeah.
So I feel like the pandemic was kind of like I don't want to say blessing, but it helped a lot of people. I mean, it was a struggle for everyone, right? There's a lot of things that were happening.
Well, it was like, it was such an eye opener to realize, like, what the hell are we doing with our lives? Mm-hmm. Like like, shit, we felt like zombies. And then I remember, like, honestly, that year was such a blessing to me because it made me realize, like, every small thing, fudge, yeah. I still remember all that crap.
Yeah. It was a reset, right? And I think a lot of people came out of it ahead. Some people, rest in peace to everyone that lost their lives. But I think it was good, because it got us out of our comfort zone. We were on autopilot, we were zombies, and it just kind of shook us up a little bit. So I think that was, every once in a while we need a shake up, and then we'll explore that too, like the whole pandemic and, all that stuff. That's a whole different topic, that we could get into. It's a rabbit hole, obviously, for those conspiracy theorist people and all that. And, there's a lot of,
I'm not big in conspiracy theory.
It's a whole nother subject, but, it was a good time for those who came ahead. Again, podcast just blew up. Everyone had a podcast.
Yeah. Everyone was like everyone was like just living their lives. I think that was cool. That was the cool thing about the pandemic is like everyone was just like, screw it, I'm just gonna live my life, you know. Yeah, me and Eddie were rebels that time. I remember that.
Yeah. So for me,
just like
yeah,
oh,
because
shit, like,
nothing changed for me in the sense of like the going out to public and everything. Like I was still going out the same amount even pre-pandemic. You know, I wasn't really. You know, the only thing that stuck was the whole masks. But during that time, we went on hiking.
yeah, that was the best.
Yeah, so we went hiking. I think there was a month that we went hiking every single day, a walk. You know, and dude, I got into really good shape. Like my legs.
So did I, dude. Shit. Okay, I would get pissed off because Eddie would choose like these crazy ass hikes, like these like incline ones, and like.
So for the record, like I didn't know these places. I just kind of like, oh, here's a spot. Let's go check it out. And when we did it, it's like, oh, dude, this sucks.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But we did some walking around town here and there, you know, small stuff, and we discovered some pretty cool stuff. You know.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite parks that we found was Manzanita Park in Prunedale. I love that place. It's super mellow. It's chill. It's kind of like Pinot Lake. We went to Pinot Lake a lot too.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, that's the thing too. Like that's what I want to explore too with this podcast and this journey is like, you know, all these spots, these outdoor hiking spots because I like hiking. You know, and for me, again, I'm an athlete. It's like I need to conquer that mountain. Like it was like I forgot which one it was. It was in Mount Madonna. When I really sucked, the Miller Trail.
Yeah. No, we did the merry-go-round and the Miller, like just like that whole big back. So it's pretty much the whole back of the mountain, and you go down, and then you have to come back up. That's like 2 miles up, pretty much. And it's just like, oh shoot! Like I remember we're like dragging our legs at the end.
Oh yeah.
And like I think we took like almost like 10 minutes just sitting in the car, just like realizing, dude, this that was crappy.
Yeah, but I loved it. You know, you know, for me, it's like, dude, I need to conquer something. Like,
we did. Yeah. I don't think we could do that. Like, if we went today, like, we would die, bro. Like, our legs would be
probably.
Like, you're gonna have to carry me, man.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, probably you. All right, so. I mean, props to Eddie because he just continues to work out. I feel like I've been so focused in school that I've been lacking on working out.
Yeah. So, you know, I've been exercising since like high school, right?
Yeah.
And it's always been a journey for me, fitness wise. You know, to just kind of exercise and be in a position, healthy position. You know, to physically, mentally, spiritually. You know, and so I've never stopped, and I've gone really big, you know, and I've gone very small, you know, but I'm always on that journey trying to just like better myself physically because, you know, you never know when you're going to die. Everyone, at any minute it could happen, but like during the time that you're alive, putting yourself in a position where you can live your best life, you know, and experience a lot of things, you know, so,
and not just that, like I was doing this, I was at a life insurance kind of meeting for a program that I'm in. And they were saying like at 50 is when like that's when all the stuff starts happening.
Yeah.
When all your heart disease, all that stuff. So like the fact that you're still working on it now, like just keep continuing, you know, just keep on going. You know?
Oh, I read this article or this heading, you know, I forgot what it was. We're technically because the average lifespan of a human now is like 60 to 70.
Yeah.
Right? Before it was like, you know, 90, 100. So like, you know, you would get to 50 and it's like midlife, right? I'm like 33. I'm technically at midlife right now.
Yeah.
You know, so I could technically claim like, oh, I got a midlife crisis because our lifespan is decreasing, you know?
Yeah.
And so.
And you know, that's kind of funny because like, it's like 2020 was like, literally, I feel like it was a whole world like midlife crisis or like a life crisis because it was like people were dying, like
everything was just put on pause.
Yeah, put on pause, and it made you reflect like what's really important to me, you know. And now I'm like looking back and I'm like, dang man, I kind of missed that, and I really appreciated that, in the sense of like that time to reflect. Because it's like now, like everything's picking back up.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone's like already stressing. Like I'm back at school, like doing all this crazy stuff, you know. And I'm like, shit. Like honestly, like I'd rather go back to 2020 and just like have nothing to do and just go hiking with your cousin and just hang with the buds, you know.
Hmm.
But like it just kind of offers you a new like, what do you truly like appreciate in your life, you know? Of course, there's gonna be sacrifices that we have to commit, so not trying to discourage anyone.
Would I go back to 2020? I want to say yes, so I could relaunch this, you know, and really like, if I knew then what I know now, like I think I would have definitely launched it. But I'm a strong believer everything happens for a reason. You know, everything has its place, and you know, its timing. You know, and so I think at the time, if I would have had all this stuff, you know, I did have all this stuff. It just wasn't the right time. You know, maybe
space, but
no space. Like, maybe it was just that the pandemic needed to happen. I needed to be in my lazy mode, you know. But now it's just like,
what, dude? That year, I still remember it was like such a big year for you because like we were doing the hiking. Sorry to throw it to you, but you fell in love. Got heartbroken.
We're not gonna jump into that too many details, but there was a lot of stuff that happened.
Still pissed off at you. I was just like, bro, really? Like,
maybe we need to get one of those like love doctors or love therapists in here, you know, a local one, and chat it up. So,
I mean,
a lot of things happen, okay, but it happened the way it was supposed to happen, you know.
Yeah.
And we're here now, and again, this is like the third time I've launched this, and this is like third time this charm, you know, like it's the time is right, you know.
Third time, is it? It feels like it's the second time.
No, it's the third time.
Really?
Like when I first got the stuff, I was all into it. Yes, and maybe it's the fourth time. I don't know. What is it? What's the fourth time?
No. It feels like a third time.
Third time's a charm. It just sounds better because fourth, what? Nothing, right? But
yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of, like they say, there's always a conversion. There's always So yeah, dude. No, I still remember. I think like, what was it, the when the day, because I think it was the day that they closed everything down for COVID. I think it was like Dorian's his brother's birthday, and like,
no, so it happened in March.
What happened in March?
Yeah, it happened in March. So I remember because at school it was March. It was what's the date today? The 23rd. So it was early March. It was last week. What was last week? Was the 18th? Yeah. So I was on Facebook, and then you know, the memories that pop up. You know, so I'm like, I looked at it. And it's like, I remember I posted like all PVUSD schools will be closed next week. You know, because they gave.
Well, I think they closed earlier, but like no.
We closed like a week or two before spring break, actually, because I think the week before spring. I think they were going to give us an extra spring break. Yeah, it was like 2 weeks, right? And it was supposed to be just a week, and then things just kind of started snowballing. Yeah. It's like, dude, what do we do? And we'll get into that more. You know, again, my background with working for the school district and working in special education, and how that was a whole process and everything, and it was like crazy. But
no, I guess what I was trying to touch to is like, I remember, I don't know what, so like I feel I don't know, it was someone's birthday. I don't know, Eamon's probably. No.
Yeah, maybe it was around Ernesto's, because they're the same. My brothers, they're just 2 days apart.
No, but I remember it was during. Yeah, well, all I remember was that I drank and something hit my stomach, like it would just, and then like, because I remember.
No, so you got sick.
Yeah.
Before the pandemic, before it was cool to have COVID.
No, I did, but like it was like right. I remember it was like the day after they closed. They closed everything, and like I was like, cause Eddie was, yeah, we're being rebels, bro. Like I mean, it was so funny.
They would tell us to stay indoors, but I'd be like, we'd be driving around.
Yeah, we'd be just buying everything.
And there was a lot of stuff happening, and like later on, if we.
Oh, dude, you know what's crazy? I was like, I think I had like a basket of clothes, right? And like I was like searching for a shirt, and then like my old mask pops out. I was like, man, that's like ancient history right there, bro. Like, man, we gotta like have a little streamer of like old masks.
Imagine
washed.
Imagine if you had all your masks that you used during the pandemic, just like as a shrine or a mural or something like that. You know,
I don't know, a shrine, but you know, yeah, little streamer kind of like that. It'd be cool, yeah. But No, but I don't know. It was like somewhere around that time. But all I remember was like we were being all rebels, and I was like, yeah, yeah. And then the next morning, dude, I just got sick out of my. I don't know what happened. I'm telling you, I don't know. It was like a weird one of the Guinnesses that I took. I'm not trying to bash on Guinness, but yeah. And so all I remember was waking up and just throwing up all crazy, and I was just like, dang. And then I was like, oh no, I got sick. And
No,
then,
no, because I remember too. Like before in 2019, I think it was November. You got sick too. You were out for 2 weeks, like literally like 2-3 weeks. You were like locked in the room because you were like, and then
no, yeah, I was, yeah, and I still remember that day. I actually remember too, and props to Paul. You'll meet Paul later. Paul D working. I was working at the farmers. Oh man, I probably shouldn't say that. Oh, actually, I can't. Yeah.
you're working at the farmers
I was
market.
working at the farmers market, and I was so sick, guys. Like this is like bad. Like, and it was 2019, December 2019, and I go up to Paul, and like he usually like, gives me like a bro hug. It's like, but I was all sick. I was like, oh. And I had to pick up like the tables and stuff, and then Paul, he's like, hey, he's like, oh hey bro, what's up? He was gonna give me a hug, and then he's like, oh you're sick? Nah, man. And he's like, haven't you heard of that virus going on in China? And I was just like, yeah, bro, but it's like not even here yet, so I don't know, you know. And then it was just like, he's like, you know what? I got the remedy just for you.
Yeah.
And he gives me, well, he has me buy a little shot glass for like $1, and then he's like, all right. And then he goes to his car, walks back, pops out a tequila bottle, and gives me a shot of tequila, and like I take it, and it just, dude, it cleared everything out of me, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I swear, like it just warmed me up, and I like that night I was able to like pick everything up, like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you guys are sick, take tequila. But yeah, that's one of the memories. But I remember like that week when everything closed down, I got sick. And I remember you came knocking. I was like, bro, stay away. I don't know if I got the virus. But yeah, it was pretty bad. Yeah, it was kind of dumb. But I mean, after that, it was just kind of like everything was chill. Like, yeah, dude, like the hiking was awesome. I think it was so cool just to have like that moment to like really just reflect.
Yeah.
You know.
You know what? Like we live in a country where everything's so fast paced. Fast paced, you know, and people don't know what it's like to slow down, right? Because they want to have fun all the time. And one thing that my dad taught me is like, dude, like you can't. Too much of a good thing is a bad. You can't have all the fun in the world, right? You need to stop. You need to reflect. You need to like, you know, change it up, right? And it's just like working out. If you consistently work out one muscle, you know, yeah, you're getting that pump, but then eventually you're going to damage it. Right, because you're overworking it. You gotta like switch it up, you know, and you switch out the muscles and you do different workouts, you know, so it confuses the body and all. But just like us, right, we have to switch it up because if we don't, then we kind of get lost.
Yeah, most definitely.
And so, and we'll explore that more. You know, I think with us, you know, you'll be on here again, and then we'll chat more and everything. So
yeah, I mean, like it's also like, if you're gonna do something like, say, a discipline like working out, like, of course, like different methods of working, right? Because you got to have leg days, you know, you got to work up your upper body, all that stuff, you know, agility, stretching, all that stuff, you know. But the discipline within itself, it's all the same, you know. So it's like it's also realizing like the importance. I think what was cool was that we committed to hiking, and we committed to like. Yeah. We're going to make the best out of this. Like, everything's going, everyone's freaking out. Everyone's like, but we made the best out of 2020, you know? And although I remember at the time, yes, I was a little bit salty that what happened, like, you know, with the whole, like, you being all heartbroken, you know?
I'm not going to throw names out there. Let's not throw names. But, like, yeah.
No, yeah. But, like, I'm not throwing like that. I'm just, like, saying, like, in the sense, like, I guess I was like, man, bro, like, I think after that, like, the hiking stuff just stopped, you know? But then it kind of made me realize that after I went through what I went through, you know? Like, my personal heartbreak and stuff like that. I realized it's like, oh, now I understand my cousin. Like, now I understand the things that we go through. Yeah. You know, and, like, why you had to go through them. And it's like, you know, it's like what what all that stuff was is like it was a growth to understand like what really matters. It's like family. Like, you know, I'm going to college, and you know what? Like, I used to be all preppy and stuff, but like, I'm not going to college for myself. I'm going to college for like to really just like just try to like help, like, you know, like try to like at least alleviate some stuff from like, you know, stuff that's going on like at home, things like that, you know. But the reality is that like after that, like, who are you? Like, you know, you're not going to that stuff to find yourself. Like, you're going to that just to get a good job. But like, who are you? You know? And I think that's so important, because it's like one of my professors said, it's like, if you're going to come into college to find yourself, you're not going to find yourself here. You're going to find yourself like
Out there.
Yeah. In church, or, you know, somewhere.
Community.
Yeah.
You know, traveling, you know.
Yeah, and again, like that imposter syndrome, man, guys, like I've had, I mean, you can tell Eddie too, like I've had jobs that are like, what am I doing? You know? And now that I'm away from those jobs, I'm like, holy dang. Like, those jobs really make me appreciate the shit that I went through. Because it really helped me to like grow, you know? And there's people who like complain about like the easiest, simplest job in the world, and you're just like, bro, this is like a blessing that you're gonna be able to like do this like simple thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to stress about anything.
I tell people, when you're complaining about your job, come work with me. Work with kids.
Yeah.
You know, dude,
Yeah.
You know, especially like I work with kids on the spectrum, right? Autism, emotional.
Yeah. No, and I still remember when you'd come home, like, he'd come home stressed.
I'd be beat, you know?
Yeah, I'd be beat. I'd be like, hey, let's go. And he was like, oh, no, man. I'm like, yeah, so it's like.
But it's a great job. I love it. You know, it's got its ups and downs, but I love the kids that I work with, you know. And then, again, we'll explore that more as this continues, you know, work, you know, my job and everything, so.
And not just that, you're human. You know, you're flesh and blood, bro. Like, you can't, you know, that holiness, like, comes from clearly above, but like, you know, so if anyone's like gonna be like, oh, well, you, no, he's human. You know. So
I tried though. I try.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, those. Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, it's been crazy. It's been a journey.
Yeah, and you know, these are conversations I'll be having, you know, with people, and then. Like I said earlier, like I'm still trying to figure out the whole, you know, podcast, you know, editing and doing all this stuff, you know, and, you know, launching it on YouTube. And apparently, you know, like we were talking earlier, you need 100,000 subscribers to put more than 15 minutes. I don't know. I'm going to try to figure something out so everyone can view my videos and the podcast and everything. I'm trying to, like I said, figure everything out, but I'm on the right step. This is the furthest I've ever been, and I'm pretty much there, you know, so little by little.
Well, I just tell them, like, there's only like 50,000 something, like, like people living in Watsonville. So.
No, there's actually 150.
I'll be quiet, no way.
Yeah, that's the population.
What?
Yeah.
Wasn't it like 50?
Well, the census happened in 2020.
Uh-huh.
And so before that, it's every 4 years. And so, yeah, when you're driving down Buena Vista, you can see a Watson population, or just the Watson, population like 150,000, like in that ballpark.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why we're considered urban now.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
So.
All right, well. Oh, man, that means more traffic. Dang it.
Yeah. Bummer. So. But yeah, if you guys get a chance, follow me at El Local 831 on Instagram. My YouTube, I don't know the link, but you'll find the link. What do they do? Huh?
I gotta get going.
Okay.
All right. Well.
What do they say? Like and follow, subscribe. I don't know. Where do the
point at all these imaginary like. Yeah. Alrighty. But
yeah, this is my cousin Aaron.
This is Eddie from El Local. So
and then we'll figure out what who I'm gonna interview next. So you You already know. All right, y'all. Take care. Peace out. God bless. See y'all later in the next one.